Hello everyone, welcome to today's Vision 6 Power Session Email Preferences. Let your contacts opt in and out of certain communications. So what is email preferences and what does it allow us to do? Well, it's a great way to allow your contacts to opt in and out of certain types of emails. And this can be managed at any time by you and the contact. Some great examples there is, let's pretend that you're an internet service provider and you've got different types of emails that you send. You might have a sort of salesy style email that you send out to people who are existing customers, maybe talking about new products and trying to upsell them onto different systems or plans or get the latest internet speeds, that type of thing. You might also have a generic e-newsletter list that goes out to everyone on your contact database. And you might have a third section or segment of users, which is for any emergency alerts. So things like outages or issues you might be having with the system. So another way or another group there that you might wish to send to. Email preferences are a great way to handle that. Now, it also lets you help retain a contact that may have otherwise unsubscribed completely. So rather than have the contact completely leave your list, you can have a little link in the bottom of the email footer there, allowing the contact to update their preferences instead and opt out of certain types of emails that they may not be interested in. Maybe they just want the emergency alerts for the internet company. They don't want the newsletter or the salesy emails. So a great way to allow the contact to potentially lessen the amount of emails they receive from you, but not leave the list completely. So win-win for everyone. Contacts can update these preferences at any time, and you can actually set them upon contact import as well. So when you're importing a group of people or a list into Vision 6, that's when you can set preferences if you want to yourself at that time. Or of course, you can do it any time in the system. It doesn't have to be at the time of import. And as I mentioned, it's great if you have different teams that send out different SMS or emails to the same group of people. You can then allow your contacts to opt in and out of certain things. And then when your staff create the emails and send them out, they just choose the right preference group to send out these emails to, so that the right people are getting the right types of emails. It can also be quite useful if you're actually merging lists together into Vision 6. Got a little example here. So you might have a newsletter list, an events list, and a list for those emergency updates I mentioned earlier. If you might be looking to move to a single list in this instance to potentially remove duplication between your lists of different contacts, you can use email preferences to still work out what original list the users came from and what types of emails the users want to receive, or the contacts, I should say, want to receive. So email preferences, great way to do that. And again, you can do it as at the time of import. So when you're merging these three lists together into one in Vision 6, that's when you could choose the preference at that time. So when you import the newsletter list, set the newsletter preference, events, set the event preference, and so on. And that would bring all the contacts in together into your list for you, but retain that information as to what types of email they want to receive. So let's have a quick look at how to set it up in the platform. So I've got Vision 6 open here. Come across to the cog icon in the top right to go into the account settings area, and then list preferences on the left-hand side. Now I've got a couple here. I think by default, the Vision 6 will have 3, but you can add more preferences if you wish. You can also rearrange the order in which they appear by dragging that around on the left. And if you've made a mistake, you can also rename or delete the preference. And these preferences are system-wide, so they apply to all lists within the platform. But simply add any preferences that you require or that you wish to use here. And then, of course, click the option here to save your changes, and that will apply that. So the preferences are now configured in the system. Now, nothing really happens at that point. It just sort of has them there. They're kind of, I guess, they're already on. Even the 3 that we give you by default will be there, kind of switched on, but not really in use unless you follow some of the next steps. So let's have a look here at how to actually add preferences to various different areas of the system, how to customize them and change them upon import. And that way we can really see how we can use this function to its full potential. So let's look at the first one. How do we add preferences to our subscription form? That way, users who are joining our list from our website or something like that, or on social media, can actually choose their types of emails they want to receive right then and there at the start when they initially join our list. So let's jump into lists and forms. And the main list I use is actually my customers list. So I'm going to double click on that one to have a look at the options provided here. So this is our subscription form. Normally, again, this is, as I mentioned, this is embedded onto your website or sent across on social media where people can fill out the form and use this to subscribe to or join your list. And normally in here, you can choose which of your fields you want to ask questions of your user to fill in. But we do have one right at the bottom here under the components section called preferences. And if we add that to our form, this is the little email preferences section. And of course, we can change the text at the top there and the description of the field as well. We can also hide certain preferences from the user too, which is handy if you have internal preferences that you don't want to expose on the form, but you still need them to be there. You can switch them off so that the user can't see them on the form. But in this case, we want them all to be there so that when the user subscribes to our e-news or whatever it might be, when they fill out this form, that's when they can choose what preferences they want to have applied to them, or rather, what types of emails they want to receive from you. We can, of course, drag this field around, make it mandatory or not mandatory, and so on. So you can sort of really design the way it looks and sort of make it work the way you need it to. So that's how to add it to the subscription form. We also have an update profile form, as you might know. So this is another Vision 6 form type. There's 4 in total, but this is another one, an update profile form. And this is a form type that allows your users to log in and change the information that you know about them or that you have on file about them. And sometimes you'll see a link at the bottom of an email in the footer to update a profile or something like that, where the user can change that information that we have stored. So this is an update profile form, which we have here. And it's the update profile form subtab. So normally the user would have to log into this, or if they've clicked through from an email, we know who they are based on a unique link. So they will be taken directly to the update profile form. This is what it looks like. Again, you can use the fields on the right to expose different fields onto the form if you wish to. So if you want them to be able to edit their email address, then switch on the email field. If you don't want them to be able to edit certain fields, then you can turn them off. The field is still there. It's just not shown on the form. And that's the update profile form. But again, coming down a little bit under components, we have a preferences panel, which we can add onto this form. And again, you can move it around, hide certain preferences from being able to be selected, that type of thing. And then if a user clicks through onto this form and updates their profile, preferences are one of the things they can then change. We do also have a preferences form as well. So again, this is the third form type out of the 4 I mentioned we have. Side note, the 4th one is the unsubscribe form. So subscription, update profile, unsubscribe form, and preferences form. So preferences form works fairly similar, except generally the only question on it is, what types of emails would you like to receive from us? That's that preferences panel once again there on the right-hand side. So it's up to you which one you want to use. Generally, most people will put a link in their email footer to the preferences form, this one here, because they don't always want contacts seeing or changing the information that we have on file about them, although you can hide fields from this as well, as we did before. We switch certain things on or off, but generally, most people in their email footers will put an unsubscribe link. That's a definite one. You have to put that one in there, and the preferences link, where they can update the types of emails that they receive from you. So they're the 2 main ones, but profile is there as well in case you wish to use it. I will show you in a few moments how to add an update preferences link into your email footer too. That way you've got the option to let your users choose the preferences, which is always a good thing. And that appears next to the unsubscribe. So great little option there as well. I'll show you that in a few moments. A couple of the how-tos here. As I mentioned, you can set the preferences for users or contacts at the time of import. A handy example here being if you're merging lists or bringing different lists from different sources into Vision 6, you can set a preference on the users or the contact at the time you do the import. Let's have a look at how to do that. So we'll come over to contacts here on the left-hand side, and I'm just going to do a pretend import to bring in some more contacts. Fairly standard screen here. I'm just going to choose what file I want to import from my desktop there, a little import spreadsheet file, and click on Next. It does our usual data analysis as always. But one of the things here is in the settings panel, which not everyone has used, but that's okay. And we've got a little preferences tab here. And this is where you can set the preference for all of these new contacts right now as at the time of import. So if I click these 2 and press save, all of these contacts in the background will have newsletter and sales and promotions set as their preference at the time of import. If they already had preferences, it won't override them, which is great. It just adds these two to them for the users or contacts that we're about to import in the background here. Of course, you can also set preferences at any time yourself. So again, I'll just come back to contacts here. And let's say these 3 users here, we want to give them the newsletters preference. So again, we can come to the options drop down after selecting them, choose update preferences, and then tick the preferences we want to give just these selected users. So we can do that and press save, and that's now been updated there. We can, of course, see what those preferences are at any time as well by scrolling across and seeing the preferences column. If that's not on, you can go to table settings, the little cog down here, find preferences, and then switch it on so that you can see it in the view. And you can see that only 3 of my contacts have preferences, and it was the first 3 that I set just a few moments ago. So that's how you can set your preferences on bulk, even after importing. That's another option as well. All right, last 2 things, how to add an update preferences option to your email footer. That way you can allow contacts to update the preferences themselves through a link in the footer. So let's just say we've got our little newsletter here. We'll come across on the right-hand side and go to footer details. And here is where we can set and turn on the preferences link. So if we have that turned on down here or ticked on and saved, now if I preview my email and I come right to the bottom of our newsletter, you'll see there's now a manage preferences option that wasn't there before, right next to the unsubscribe. So a great way again to allow your contacts to set that themselves. And if they clicked that, it would take them to that update preferences form I showed you before under lists and forms. So that would open that up. It would have pre-ticked anything that they've got set, and they can then change that if they want to. So great little function there to allow them to do so. And the last how do I send to users who have certain preferences? Because that's a great tip. I mean, we've got all these preferences now, we're using them and storing them. What if I just want to send an email to the newsletter people because it's our newsletter and I don't want to send that to people who want a different type of preference on their email? So how do I send to a particular group of people with the correct email preference? So let's open up our newsletter again and pretend we're about to send it. So I'll come across into the send area and select my contacts. Normally, this is where you would choose your list, and in most cases, people generally will choose their entire list if that's who they want to send to. But in this case, I'm going to use an advanced selection. Here, what we do is we come into select field and we come towards the bottom and we choose the preferences field. And now we want to tick on which group of people we want to send this to. So just those who have opted in to receive newsletters or newsletters and Recipe Club, for example. Press next, and then we'll go and find any contacts that match either of those 2 criteria, and your email will just send to those people now. So great little way to how to configure it so that you only send to certain email preferences. And that's through the field here, preferences, and then you choose the ones you wish to send your email to. One other just side little note there, you can at any time put a link or a button or an image or whatever and link it through to your update preferences form at any time. So you don't necessarily have to rely on that little tiny text link in the footer that I showed you earlier. You can actually perhaps even send an email out to all of your contacts, letting them know that you now have this feature. We've now got preferences where you can choose what emails you'd like to receive from us. And that's great for a lot of contacts. They sort of go, oh, great, you know, I kind of like your newsletters, but I don't really want your salesy emails, that type of thing. So how do I opt in and out? Great way. You've got preferences now. Why not tell all of your users about it? And you can actually bring that preferences link front and center for your users when you do your next mail out after you've got your preferences set up and configured. So a great way to do that, of course, is with a button. It's nice, clear, and obvious and easy to see. So I'm just going to change the background color there. And now that my button link will be set your email preferences. Or it could be something like choose the emails you receive from us, or something like that. You can have any sort of text you like on the button there. Might make it a little bit wider. And now I need to link it through somewhere. So I press select link. And instead of typing in a web address like you normally would when you put links into emails in Vision 6, you want to link to that Update Preferences form I showed you earlier, the one over in Lists and Forms. So we go to Web Forms and we change it to Preferences form here, and then press Insert. So now whenever your users receive this email, the one that talks about this new feature you've got, click here to update your preferences, they would click that button there, and it automatically takes them over to that special form that I showed you before, which of course you can customize, where it shows them their preferences. If they already have some preferences set, they will see them pre-ticked on the form, but they can of course add more to it or turn different ticks on and off depending on what they want to receive. So fantastic little way there. We've sort of come full circle now. We've set up the feature, showed you how to use it, but also also shown you how to allow your contacts to change preferences at any time. And of course, as long as you've got that footer link in there, they can still do it at any time. But sometimes once implementing the feature, we find a number of our clients like to advise their contacts about it with a button front and center like that, or within one of the newsletters, just to advise them, hey, we've got this feature now. Why don't you set your preferences so that you can receive just the right style and number of emails from us to suit your needs. Well, thank you very much for joining today's Vision 6 Power Session. I hope you've enjoyed our topic. My name's Andy. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks again.